installation of Selenium RC. So let's start with the demo, friends, without any failure. So this, always keep this picture in your mind. You guys can take a screenshot of this so that you guys can all just, if you want to revise Selenium RC, just see this diagram, everything is done. Okay. Just go to Selenium official website. Just go, friends, now. Okay. Even let me check. I always gets confused with this name. Shikram. Okay. Sikamani, I'm correct, or I've correctly pronounced your name? Yes. If you won't mind, I'll call you Sika. It's okay? I'll call you Sika. That looks good to me. So once you'll go to Selenium official, Raman Sikamani. Okay, I'll call you Raman. One of my friends' name is also Raman. So that will be very easy for me to remember. Thanks, Raman. So you can click on download. Now here you have to do two things. First, go and download the Selenium client library. Okay. Here you can see Java. Click on download and save the file. Now open this folder. I'm telling you, for some few people, maybe the internet connection not too good. Okay, so that's okay, because you are already knowing that's the reason you did it. So everyone is not having it. So once you will download it, you have to unzip it. And click on extract. I'm showing this demo so that whenever you wanted to see, whenever you wanted to have, if things are not handy with you, maybe you have a document, you can always go and see to it and how to do it. Okay. So yeah, Shovan, it's there in the LMS. I know, in the insta configuration of Eclipse, but still it's not with the people. So I have to go with the audience. I have to go with everyone, Shovan. So once you will unzip it, what will happen? You will get a library created in this form. Okay. Let me go to my project. I have in my project only. Okay. So if I'll expand it, you will get a folder called lib and you will get the jar files. Okay. So by that time, let it, for those people who is not having in their system, you can follow the steps which I have told you now. Okay. So that by that time we can see how to configure it. You guys can see into my screen how I am configuring. You have two options to configure it. Right click on your project, build path, configure build path. It's already there in your project, documentation to do it. I'm just doing it again for you, friends. So you will get two libraries already there. You will just click on add jars. Within your project you have a library. You can select all the jar files from here, whatever you have downloaded, and click on OK. So once you will add all the jar files, you won't find the lib folder here. Why? Because whatever jar files were required, it's already there in your project. Okay. Now I'll click on OK. Now you can see all the jar files you can see here are getting referenced. Okay. Or there is another way also. Teja has a question. I have installed this yesterday, but I am happy to go through and verify if I have done correctly. So thanks for showing it again. That's the reason, Teja. I know, because I know that people face problem in configuring it, so they'll struggle themselves that they have to put more effort and do a small change. Okay. Jaideep, in the documentation procedure stated add external jar, I have used that procedure. Is that fine? Yeah, I'm about to tell Jaideep that thing. So this is one of the way, easy to go. Okay. What is the other way to do it? You can right click on the project again. It's the same thing which I'm showing you guys. The other way to do it. Click on configure build path. Now this time what I'll do add library. Okay. See friends, yesterday I was telling you don't go with add jars always. Don't go with add external jars. Go with add jars. Why we shouldn't go with add external jars? Because if today you have your project in C drive and you copy it in E drive, your project will not work, because your jars are not in the place where it has been expected to be. Okay, so if you go with external jars and add the path, tomorrow if you try to copy your project, run your project from other location, it won't work. Or maybe if you give your project to some other team member, it won't work for him. That's the reason. So other way is click on add library, click on user library, click next. This jar was already, I have done it for me, but forget about it. I'll remove this jar. Let me remove this. Okay, I'll 1 second. Okay, so I'll cancel it. So again, I'll click on add library. If you already have a library here, you'll find it, but if it is not, click here, user libraries, then click on new, create a lib folder, means a folder with a name, give a library name lib, that is a standard name. Click on OK, a lib will be created. Now in this lib you need to add a jar file. Don't use external jars. I'm telling you the reason. Use add jars. Okay, and where the jar files are, it's there in your folder. Okay, it's there in your project. So whenever, even if you're moving your project, it will always be referring to the current project only. I'll click on finish. So instead of having so many jars and doing it every time, like if you have to do it again and again, it's why not to have a library rather than adding jar one by one. Now here I have all the jars. Okay, so I'll click on OK. So now you can see these jars getting referenced. Okay, see, I have removed it from there, but still is getting referenced. Why? Because I have added a library here. That's good. So why you shouldn't go with the only jar? Because Selenium provides all the features which you wanted in your project. Okay, right now I have linked all the jar files, but actually you no need to put all the jar files. Okay, why I have added all the jar files which has been provided for project? Because I can get backward compatibility. If I want to write JUnit, I don't have to specifically go and download a JUnit from the web and integrate in my project so that I can do JUnit. JUnit is just a unit testing. Whatever code you will write, you need to test it whether it's working or not. Okay, so in industries, in market, whatever value Selenium is having, same value JUnit is also having. If you put in your resume and if you tell someone that I have created this project using JUnit, this gives a very clear picture to the person to whom you are saying that you are a good person for development. Okay, JUnit, whenever you say JUnit, this proves that you are a good developer. Why? Because you don't put your code like that in production. You actually test your code and then put in your production, Okay, so all product-based companies or all companies are actually going with JUnit so that they can test whatever code you have written is correct or not. Okay, that's the reason, Shovan. I think I have answered your question, Shovan. Along with JUnit, there are other features also that will help you in getting up the things. Okay, so let's start. Okay, thanks, Shovan. So let's start with our first Java class. So yesterday we created a Java class, my first demo class. Okay. So if you will be working on projects, you will be actually writing your code here in your main class. But today we won't be writing in this class. We will be creating a JUnit class. Okay, so that we'll see that how whatever code we have written to test my test case is actually working or not. Okay. So right click on the package. I have created a folder. What you guys can do, if you are creating a Selenium project, you should always have a SRC folder, which is by default there, and you need to create a separate folder, test SRC. Okay. Right click, create a folder. How you will create a test SRC folder? Right click on your project, go to new and see source folder. Don't take folder, you need to click on source folder. Once you will click on source folder, it will ask you for the folder name. I'll say test/src, means I'm writing I need to create a folder for test folder for src, and and here I wanted to write my JUnit, and this shows clearly that this is the place where exactly I'm writing my JUnit test cases for Selenium. Okay, click on finish. Once it is done, a folder will be created. Within this folder, you need to right click on it, and here this time you won't create a class, you will be creating a JUnit test case. Okay, what you have to do, you have to do a JUnit test case. Just click on it, give a package name, meaningful name like com.edureka.rc, or you can give com.shovan.selenium RC, or you can give com.jadeep.shovan.rc or com.venkatesh.rc. Okay, you can create any you can give any meaningful name. Okay, but always make sure don't give anything in caps. Package should always have a lowercase. Okay, once you will give the package name, give a class name So how this JUnit is helpful for us. Okay, once we'll run our JUnit, you will come to know how it is actually be helping us. So we'll be categorizing our JUnit in 3 phases. Okay, what will be the 3 phase? First phase, I want to launch my server, RC server. I want to interact with the server. Okay, what will be the second phase? Once the server is launched, I want to write my test. So where you will be launching your server? In before. This gives you a clear meaning. You have before, after, and test. So I'll cut this part of the code and put it in between. I'll save it. So what we will be doing before? You will launch your server. So first I'll write before. You guys can write with me B caps and FORE before, and hit enter and say public void, because we are not returning anything. Public means anyone can access it. Void means I'm not returning anything, and I'll say setup, because I want to do a setup. Any meaningful name you can give. Okay. If you guys are getting any error, just hover on before. It will ask you, let me delete all the things from here. Let me save it. Hover on it. If you guys are getting an error, you will get import before org.junit. Click on it. Before part is done. Okay. After selecting setup tear down, we see that no Ruchi, that is a different thing. It's just a annotation that we'll be using it. Okay. Maybe it will work for you sometime, but most of the time that option will not work for you. So when we'll be having a JUnit session, I have put a separate module for JUnit also. So in that we'll see what add-on annotations we have. Okay. So once this is done, what I'll do, I have to add an test. So I'll say test. So public void, I don't have to return. I have before and test only. Okay, shown is saying, now shown is okay, fine, that's good. Shown public void, and I'll say I'll give a meaningful name, login, because WordPress. I'll take an application called WordPress. Okay, so hover on test and you can see you can add the jar file. Okay, org.jtest. Okay, once you have your test, you can write after. So public void, I don't have to return anything. I'll say done, and I'll say just hover on the after and import org.junit. I'll press Control. If you guys want to restructure your code, press Control A and I. Okay, I'll ping you guys. Press CTRL Control plus A, then CTRL Control plus I. If you will do it, your code will get restructured. Okay, so what is how JUnit is going to help us? We have a before, we have test, and we have after. So what we'll be doing in before, we'll be actually writing our server code, like we'll try to interact with our server, and in test we'll be actually writing our test, what we have to do, and in done we'll actually close the browser. So we'll be launching a server before, in test we'll write our test, and after we'll exit it. Okay, so once we'll do the execution, we'll get a proper reason, and we can get some graphical view saying that okay, my test is done. Okay, like that way things can be done. Then what is the guarantee that my production code will work? There is no guarantee. If I put some logic here for int I equal to 0, I is less than 10, I plus plus, and I'll do a CSO. CSO means system out print ln. I'll tell you guys just to show you now. I'm just writing it. So I want to print Selenium RC demo, and I want to print 10 numbers 1 to 10. Then what is 0 to 9? Then what is the guarantee that it will print? There is no guarantee. Okay. So if I have put some logic here, the logic can be easy to, it can go to any level of difficulty. Okay. So whatever code I have written, I need to test it. That is the reason I am writing a JUnit. So you should never write your code directly without writing a JUnit. You should write your JUnit first and test your production code. So if you write your JUnit, your code will get automatically written. Once you will start building your JUnit, your production code will get automatically written. I'll show you how it works. Okay. So this picture is clear to you. So I have already created Jaideep. Okay, thanks Jaideep. So I have a setup here already for server. I'll just copy and put it here. I'll explain you what it is, and I'll put Selenium. Okay. So right now I'm getting an error. Okay. Selenium, I'm getting an error. So which project I have integrated in my, which Java API I have integrated in my project? I have integrated Java API for Selenium WebDriver, not server. Okay, I have downloaded 2.44 for Internet Explorer driver, like it's for the Selenium WebDriver, not Selenium RC. So this part of the code which I have integrated, library, is supporting Selenium RC also. Okay, so even on the official website you won't get specifically that something is there for RC. For RC you will always get a server, not an API, because RC API is already there in the WebDriver code. Okay friends, so if I'll hover on it, it will say import Selenium com.thoughtworks.selenium. Why ThoughtWorks is coming? Because ThoughtWorks is the company who built it. Okay, actually this is also not a good way to write it. Okay, you should not put your company name when you are passing it to the third person. So I have clicked on it, and it is saying some deprecation. So just to remove these warnings, okay, let it come. Okay, so what we are doing here, we are trying to launch a Google server. Okay, this is my Selenium. So to launch a server, what you have to do, just write Selenium and an object of Selenium. Create an object of Selenium. It's an object name. So create an object. How you will be creating? With the word new. Okay, and there is a default Selenium class which will be actually getting instantiated. Okay, so within that default Selenium class you have to pass 4 parameters. What is your first parameter? on which system you want to run. Okay, this request is going to be, why is Selenium crossed? Okay, Pavel is getting an error that Selenium is crossed for her. It is coming like this, Pavel, for you. Are you getting a cross for this? Selenium? So it is coming, this is what you were asking, Pavel. So this thing is coming because you have not imported the project. You have linked the jar APIs, but you need to call the API which it wants. So you don't have to actually know on which jar your API is. You just hover on it. Eclipse will help you that this is the location from where you have to import. Okay, then this cross sign will go. Right, Pavel? Any confusion you have, Pavel? I think it's very easy. Okay, thanks, Pavel. So you have a Selenium class. So this is the only class what Google has created, and within this class, complete RC is there. Okay, so you have created an object with the name Selenium. You can give any object name called Edureka, or you can give Jaideep. Okay, you can give any name to it. Your object can be anything, but now you cannot give any name. It should be a meaningful name. Okay, so if I write Selenium, this tells me that okay, I have created an object of Selenium. So it's always better to take the class name. Class name, whatever you have, you can give the same name here. Your name should always start, object name or variable name should always start with a small case. Jadeep is saying that for me also it is cross. Hovering doesn't give me import option. Did you guys import the jar files correctly? Jadeep, did you reference the jar files? Is there anyone who is facing the problem? I see all the jar files. Did you build your project? Right click on it. Why cross Selenium is required here? Why cross Selenium is required here? Okay, crossed you are saying. Okay, fine. I thought maybe you are getting an error. Okay, so like this way you are saying it is getting crossed. Let me clarify here. Do we have to write the code parallel as you give this session? This looks a bit tricky. No, Shovan, just try to concentrate in the basic structure. Once you guys are ready with the basic structure, you guys can go ahead. So what we can do here right now, I just want you guys, my basic part is that you should know how to create a class. Okay, then you guys can go ahead and do it by yourself. Okay, right now don't try to do it. Okay, so I was about to say that if you do it parallelly, it will be a confusion that why it is maybe if you have a configuration problem, again you will miss few things which I'm explaining. Okay, so it's better not to do it parallelly, but it's a very basic thing. Creating a class, those things you can do, but when I'm getting into the code, don't try to copy it from the screen and do it. You can do it afterwards. Okay. Okay, thanks, Shovan. Yeah, that's good. So you are getting a cross symbol because this class has been overwritten. This class has been written in RC and the Selenium RC project and has been used in Selenium WebDriver. So to remove this warning, you can add a warning saying that this method has get overwritten. You can put it at the top of the class and save it. This warning will go. Now, warning has gone, still it is getting crossed, so that means this method has been overwritten. This class was already there, okay, in this package, but here what you are trying to do, you are trying to override it and want to do something in it. So that's the reason it's getting overwritten and the cross is coming. I think I've answered your question, Sabita and Jaideep. Okay. Pavel is saying for me it's not crossed. Yeah, Pavel, like, see, thing is that for it will be like if you are trying to override it, it actually depends with the your Eclipse settings also. So if you go to preferences and warnings, so error and warning, so you can, maybe for you the settings will be different here, that's the reason it is not coming across for you. Okay, so if you try to change some settings here, it will come. So it's not a problem for you guys. It's not a very big thing that it will stop you in going ahead. But the reason why cross is coming, because this method is getting overwritten. Overwritten means you are trying to write which is already there and you are trying to write something in it. Okay. Nothing wrong you have done, Jadi. Everything is okay. Okay. So I think right now just focus on the code, friends. Then we'll if you have any problem after that, we'll see to it. Okay. So now let's focus on the Jadi. Is it okay with you? Let's go with the like understanding the code part. Then you can go ahead with it and continue it, so that we can see what all the things we have to cover up, or else we'll be stuck there itself. Okay. Don't try to do parallelly, Jadi, or else it will be a problem for you. Okay. Now in the default Selenium parameter, what you need to pass 4 parameters. Okay, so first parameter is the local host, where exactly you will be running. If I'm running on a dedicated machine, a separate machine, you need to pass an IP address. Okay, if it is your local machine, you will pass local host. Okay, you can give any port number, 4444 or 5555. So it's better to give 4444. Just it's we say it's a default one, you can get it, but you can change it. Okay, so once your Selenium server gets stopped, your port number will change. Okay, sorry, if you try your port number will stop. You can use the same port number to run it. But if you are parallelly doing parallel execution, one port you are using some IP address 192.168.7.01, and in other port you have other port. On this IP address you are using this port. For some other IP address you cannot use the same port because it is already being used. So what you will do, you will give 5555. Okay, like this way you can change the port number so that you can work on 2 different ports. But anyways, you will be doing execution on local system. When you are working on these dedicated system from a different system, you can give the IP address. Okay. Now in the third parameter, you need to tell on which browser you have to test. Star Google Chrome. Star tells it will find the Google Chrome in your system, wherever it will be, it will find and launch the browser. So for Chrome you need to give Google Chrome. For it is Internet Explorer. For Firefox it is Firefox. And in the fourth parameter you will pass the domain address. Okay, so this is the application on which today we will be doing some testing. It's an open source content management site. Okay, so this is a very good site where you can actually do your practicals. Even for certification also you can use the same site to give a demo. One second. Open source CMS. Shruti has a question, where can we find this project numbers, port numbers? No, Shruti, you can give, you need to give a 4-digit port number. It can be 4444, 5555, or you can give 4445. So you can give any 4 port numbers. Default is 4444. So always try to give 4444, 5555, 6666, 7777, like that. It is just a standard way to give it. Even you can give 4445 also. Okay, not a problem. I think I've answered your question, Shruti. Okay, so Google Chrome is the browser on which we will be doing, and this is the location where exactly I will be doing the testing. So let me check this, it is coming or not. Yeah, this is the site. So we'll be working on, this is the portal where we'll be taking one of the application and we'll be testing it. So I already have the URL, that is WordPress. Okay. So this is a WordPress. See, this is the same site. So it comes under maybe, and I think inside because there are many web applications projects are there. So you can take any one web application and you can do your project and you can do your practice on Selenium. So people always have a confusion that if I want to learn, then where should I practice? If I don't have any idea that where should I actually go and practice the things, I don't have any idea how it will be looking like, whether I should write my own code and do the things. No, you don't have to do. You can, I'll send you this link. You guys can go through it afterwards and see that you will get many options here to take anyone. You can get an e-learning portal. You can go to image library blocks and e-commerce blocks. Okay. So I'll show you what all the other options are. So as of now, let's stick to WordPress. So thanks, Shruti. Okay. So you have two options. You can either go to WordPress site or you can go to the admin access. So for admin access, they have provided the username and password. Username is admin, password is demo123. So I'll click on demo admin page. So here you can see you have actually come to a place where how exactly WordPress demo site will look like, but it is for an end user. Nothing much is there on this site. Okay, so we'll go to the admin's access site so that we can do much things here. Okay, so I'll give a username admin and password demo123. That's good, friends, because it's 1 second, demo123, and click on login. Don't remember the password. Okay, so because if you see that you always try to take some application like Facebook, Gmail, where credentials will be involved, or if you ask someone to show a demo, they'll give you, even in your company also you will go, it's very difficult to explain someone that how things are working. So this is a very good portal where you will give a broad variety of the applications and you can do the things. So we'll be stick to WordPress site. It looks good to me that you can post your blogs and you can go and read the things. You can add, you can publish an article, add new. I can give here demo and I can click on publish. So all these things we can test here. Okay. So this is about the before site and this is the portal where exactly we will be going to work. Okay. Then I'll say start. So once I'll say start, my server will start. Okay. So let me, once the server will start, right now I'm not writing anything in the test. Once my test code gets completed, I'll say Selenium dot, not this one, this Selenium dot stop. So right now I'll be getting an error. Why? Because this method don't know about what Selenium is. Okay, because Selenium is defined where? In before. Now I'm trying to use this thing again in a separate method, done, which is in after annotation, which is just after annotation, a done method. So how should I reuse it? Rather than defining inside setup, I can define outside. Okay. Now you can see I can use it. Now if I'll try to right click on it, it will give me a list of actions. So if you want to find, once you have created an object of Selenium, if you want to see what all the things you can do, what is there inside Selenium, just press Control space. It will give you the list of things what you can do. Okay. So what you have to press? You have to press Control plus space. Friends, yesterday I saw that people didn't saved it. So what you can do, you can, if you can see in your right side of the Citrix, you have a file, and in file you have an option to save the question logs or a chat log. Okay. So you guys can save the question log or chat log after the session gets completed. One session gets completed. So I'll remind you. Okay. Try to save whatever we are discussing in the class, so that you will be having with you guys useful links and the small basic concepts. Okay. So I'll try to run this project. Right now I don't have any test case. Okay. So rather than that, let me copy this. 1 second. Let me go back. I'll do logout. It will not come. I have to change the URL. 1 second, friends. I'll go to demo page. I'm just doing some cleanup work. 1 second, I'll copy this URL and put it here so that it should launch. Okay. So it will launch a server on local machine with this port number on Google Chrome for this application. Okay. And it will start and it will stop. I'll click on run. So how you will be running it, you can right click on your class. You will see an option run as JUnit, or you can right click my RC demo test case, right click on it, run as JUnit. Okay, either of the way, or you can click it from here, it will ask you. So what it is saying me, it is giving me an error, friends. It's not launching. It's saying could not connect Selenium server. Right. How it will run? I don't have a Selenium server up and running. I need a Selenium server, right? So I'll go to the download page, okay, again, and I'll download the Selenium server. So this is the Selenium RC server. Just click on it. You will get a server down, means once you will click on it, you will get a Selenium server downloaded in your system. So I'll show you how it looks like. So this will be your Selenium server. You will get a jar file like this. Okay. So you can put it in your project or maybe in your local system. You just need to run this. Okay. So how you will be running it? You need to go to type CMD, and you need to go to the location where your Selenium server is, and you're in the location of Selenium server. Okay. So how to run Selenium server? Type Java space -jar and give the Selenium server name. Okay. So Selenium server is there. Where I am in Selenium server is in which location? It is in Sushobit Edureka module 2 RC server. And how to start a server? I'll type Java space -jar Selenium server standalone, the name of the jar file. Okay. And I'll hit enter. It's saying launching the standalone server, Oracle Corporation, Windows 7. It is printing my system configuration then, and the server is started. Okay. So whatever things you will do in your RC, it will communicate with the server, RC server, and then it will interact with the browser. Now I'll rerun the test again. Okay. Let's see what it does now. So you can see a browser has come, okay, but it is minimized. So what things I told you, friends, that in Selenium you have an option to do unattended execution. It will launch. You can keep your browser minimized and do the execution. Okay, no need to keep the browser up and running. So if this green is saying that the execution is done, errors are 0, failure is 0, and run 1 on 1. Okay, I'll rerun it again. See, it has launched a server. Now I'll show you. It is launching a server, okay, web server. This will be your Selenium server site. Now this server will launch a browser, which demo.that thing. You saw, right? It was not waiting, it just closed it, okay? And my execution is done. It has just launched the browser and done. Okay, what I have told him to do, that only thing he has done. Okay, now I'll write a small code I have already written here, and what I'll try to do, I'll tell you. So I have a test case. First I'll tell you what I'm about to do here. Okay, is it mandatory to have a stop command? Yes, Anuj. If you won't write a stop command, your Selenium server will be busy with that specific port and you won't be able to use that port again. Maybe sometimes it gets automatically closed because if your port is not in use, your operating system will close, but most of the time it won't close it. So it's always good to close your server which you have launched, because what will happen if you won't close your server, when you will be working on WebDriver, your system will get overloaded with many requests. Okay, try to close your server, or else it will be in backend running. Okay, I think I have answered your question, Anuj. Is it okay? Thanks, Anuj. So we'll be launching our WordPress site, and what we'll enter admin username, and then thanks, Anuj. And then we'll enter the password demo, and I'll say what is a demo 1 2 3, and then I'll click on login. As of now I'm doing this step only. Okay, and once my browser will load, so means I'll wait for the browser to load, it should not close. Okay, so I'll write a code here. First code what I'll write, I need to enter the username. Only 3 steps, nothing too difficult. Okay, so how to write it? Okay, so first I'll show you how it is working, then I'll show you how I'll show you how it actually looks like, that when I'll run the code, and then I'll show you what does that part of the code mean. It's very easy thing. Okay, I have rerun the code again. It will launch a server first. Oh, it's okay. Yeah. Once the server will gets launched, the web server is launched, then it will launch the web browser. And okay, 1 second. It is giving an error, element ID equal to user log. Okay. Is not found. Let me check once again. Okay, I think something is wrong in the URL. Yes, this is how the URL looks like. Okay, so I'll try to put the domain name, okay, here in the URL, and within that domain I'll just go to the specific location where I wanted to go. See, this will be the domain name, and here I wanted to go to a page which is login selenium.open, this location, and then I'll try to enter it. Okay, so what is this location? Within that domain I have a location called WordPress wlogin.php. So I'll put that location here, and then I'll do it. So it has launched the application, and now it will enter the username admin. Once the browser gets launched, means loaded, then only it will write. Okay, so you saw how fast it has entered the details. Okay, so Sabita has a question, what is before test and after in the code snippet? Okay, I think I have answered it already, Sabita, but I'll repeat it for you, not a problem. So before is actually a part of a code where, like, you have to do few things that you have to do it once. Okay, our main objective is that right now we are trying to categorize the things. In before, we'll do something which I have to do once, and then I'll write my test case, and in after I'll try to do something which I have to do once. Okay, so right now you can see how clear my things are. In before, you can see there I'm trying to launch a server, trying to connect to a server, and in test I have only steps related to test and in after. So what will happen if anything goes wrong in the server side, your code will stop there. Okay, so if you have 1,000 lines of code or big part of the code, you will be first confusion will come to your mind where exactly my things are going wrong. Okay, I instead of star I'll try to put dot and I'll rerun it. Okay, now let's see what, see right now I'm getting an error. Where I'm getting this error, I'll double click on it. Where it is taking me, it is taking to this location. So things are very clear to me that something went wrong in my server, not in my test. Okay, so this will help you in tracing your error, okay, and modularize your code. I think I've answered your question, Savita. Thanks. Okay, Ali has a question. How does it know to got to login WordPress function? Okay, we are not calling login WordPress function. No, no, Ali. As of now, I have not. I think you have joined late today. Why you are late, Ali? Any specific reason? Friend, try to come on time so that you should not miss anything. Okay. So as of now, I have not told how actually the code is interacting with the browser. I have just written. I have explained you what configuration we have to do so that our code can interact with the server. Okay. In test case, I have not explained anything, but I have told you manually that what all the things I am going to do. Okay. Now I will tell you how actually is interacting with the application. And once my test case is done, I am just saying in after, so it is getting stopped. Okay. Selenium dot stopped. So why now? And again, this is an answer to Sabita and all, that I'll write this test again, friend. I'll write a test case. Public void login WordPress. Okay, this time I won't do any login. I'll repeat this test case again. Just a very basic thing. Okay, and I'll say WordPress part 2. Okay, now you can see, Savita and all, that my before method will be called once and my all test cases will be executed and my after will be called at the end. Okay, so you will get to know why we are doing before and after in that. Okay, so I just changed dot to star. Ali, I think I have answered your question. Okay, just wait, Ali. I'll come back to your question. Okay, I'll answer your question. Okay, that's okay, Ali. Not a problem. So it will launch your browser. You can see 2 jobs are running in left hand side. Okay, so first before method will run. Your before method has launched the RC server, connected to RC server. Now your application is launched. First test case is running. Okay, it will log in the details. So which test case is running? Login press part 2. Okay, again it has launched the browser and it will go to your application, go to the application, enter the credentials and click on login. So for each of the test, before and after was called. Okay, now I wanted to have only once I want to call before and after. I don't want to launch our server again and again. Okay, so I'll say before class and I'll try to add it. Before class org.JUnit and I'll say after class org.JUnit. So for each of the test, my before and after was getting called. Okay, now we'll see what happens now if I say before class and after class. It's saying it should be static. Okay. Okay, and I'll put this as a starting. Okay. So your server has launched. So when we'll having a JUnit session, you will come to know about all the annotations, before, after, before class, after class. What does it mean? Okay. So when we were using before and after, it was actually launching a browser, completing your test, and calling after. Again, once my test case gets completed, it was again calling before, running my test, and calling again after. So for each of the tests, before and after was getting called. Now in this case, both the things has been done in the same location. Okay, like in the same test case, only before was called and after was called, and both the test case was ran in the same server. Okay, I think I have answered your question, Sabita. And for everyone, Sabita, did you get it? Sabita, how you are identifying the login page controls? I can see we have refer user login. Yes. Okay. Sabita, so this is the next step what I am going to tell you guys. So as of now the picture is clear to you. Okay, I'll answer your question, Sabita. The next step I was about to tell you this thing. So Pavel is saying, are we going to have a class on JUnit also? Are we going to have a class on JUnit also? Yes, Pavel, we have a separate class because JUnit is also a very good technology in the market and you should know how to use it. So if you are developing a Selenium framework, you should do with JUnit. So that, and even we'll be discussing TestNG, which is an advanced version of JUnit. Okay. So friends, like I'll give you a quick review that how it was actually, like I'll tell you quickly how actually it is interacting with the browser. Okay. Then we'll work on locator techniques where we'll see what extra things we can do with the part, with our part of the code so that we can interact with the browser more. Okay. I think I've answered your question, Pavel, right? Thanks, Pavel. So we know how to launch, how to interact with the server. Okay. I'll use this configuration. I'll give my port IP address. Right now it is localhost. I'll give the port number. I'll tell the browser, Firefox, Google Chrome, whichever I want, and I'll give the port domain address. And in domain address, I can go to any specific location. Right now I'm going to a WordPress login page. Okay. So within Selenium command, you can saw a list of things that you can do. Okay, so what are the basic things you can do with the application? You generally click on the object, you enter text, and you can take a screenshot and do some keyboard handling. Okay, but basically when you ask me, when you do anything on your application, you generally enter some data and then you try to click on it. Okay, so you can see if I say type, it is saying type keys and type. Okay, so yesterday I was telling you, right, in Selenium RC the problem is that it gives a two different meaning. Okay, you will get confused which one I should take for to type anything on the application. Okay, so if you want to know the meaning, what does type mean in the Selenium, just hover on it. So Java doc is not attached. Okay, I'll tell you how to attach a Java doc also so that you can get the meaning of it. Okay, so to type anything in the application, as of now we'll focus on type and click. There are many options available. Okay, like capture screenshot. Okay, capture entire page screenshot to string, attach a file. But we'll start with the basic type. Okay, and in type I have two parameters, argument 0 and argument 1. These are the drawbacks of Selenium RC. Argument 0 and argument 1 doesn't give a meaningful names that I don't know what does argument 0 and argument 1 means. Okay, I have to go through the Java doc and understand it. So Java doc is a documentation of the API. Okay, so argument 0 and argument 1 means in argument 0 you will give the property of the object with which you want to interact with, and if it is a text box, you will give the value. If it is a text password text field or a text box or a text area, you will give the property of that object and you will give the value what you want to enter it to it. And if you want to click on any button, link, reset button, it's a image, or it's a delete button or a filter button, any button you want, like click related operation if you want to use, you can use click in the Selenium API. Okay, so if I'll right click on it, I'll press Control space, and if I'll type click, you can see click is coming, okay, here. And if you specify like click at, so again you have to go to the Java code dot and understand it, what does argument 0 and argument 1 it, okay. So there are hell lot of things, like you can see the drop down, there are so many things to do it, okay, application to application. So what does WebDriver has done, they have put everything in this API and just a name with Selenium API, and they have put everything in this class called Selenium, this class. With like we have created an object called Selenium of Selenium class, right? I can give any name here. So don't get confused with this name and that name. This is the class. So for this class, you have all the options. These many things you can do in Selenium RC, that is there, okay? Anuj is saying that, is there anything like object click? It's the same way, Anuj. It's the same thing. This is your object and you are doing click on it. In WebDriver, you will come to know that first you will find the object and then you will click on it. Okay. But in Selenium RC, you don't have an option. You will find an object in this way only. First, you have to give the property of the object to which you want to interact. And then if it is a text box, you will pass the value. But if it is a button or any data, you need to just give the property, because submit button or login button doesn't need any data. I think I've answered the question, Anuj, right? Okay. How do we get the ID? Yeah. So this is the question that is coming in everyone's mind. Okay. So let's go to the how to find a property. So till now this thing is clear, that I have to launch a interact with the browser. This is the test case I have. So right, let me delete one of the test here. Control A, Control I, and this is open. Now these are the steps I want to type. I know how to use type and click, and I need to give a property, property value, property value, and just property to click on it. Okay, so how to find a property? That's a very good question. Okay, so you will be finding it from your browser itself. Okay, Shovan has a question, any reason why we are doing RC when WebDriver is one we want? Okay, we'll be coming up Shovan, because we'll be covering all the modules. We'll cover RC today and then we'll cover Selenium WebDriver. Okay, so you can see actually the difference in it. Okay. But why RC? Yeah, because RC is used by many companies, because when it came, it was used by other companies also. Okay, so right now there are many companies who are working on Selenium RC, and there are many things. Like Shovan is asking, why should we go for Selenium RC? Okay, you should have a knowledge of Selenium RC also along with Selenium WebDriver, because there are many things in Selenium RC, as I was telling you, can help you in doing automation. Okay, like if you are stuck somewhere, then you can take help of Selenium RC, and that was the only reason. The other reason also why they have integrated it. Okay, so there are few easy things like handling of keyboard, deleting a cookies. So all those things are there, but there are applications which are built on Selenium RC, so you should know how should we go with Selenium RC. Okay, so once you are familiar with Selenium RC, you can easily go with Selenium WebDriver also. Okay, friend. I think I've answered the question, Shovan. Okay, so how to find the property? Okay, so just go to your Firefox. Okay, so I'll tell you how to do it. Okay, don't worry that how it is coming up for me. So I'll go to Firefox and tools. Okay, I don't have right now any developer toolbar in the browser. Yesterday only I've installed it so that I can show you guys. Okay, so I'll click on inspect element. Again, I'll right click on username. I'll click on inspect element. Okay, so just right click on it. You will get an option called inspect element. So when you will right click on it, it will take you to the location where exactly the property of this part of the thing, this part of the text box is written. Okay, so it will take me to the location where exactly my source code is written for user out of this full HTML. Let me move this window. Okay, I have full HTML code here for this page, but it will take me to a location where my code is written for username text field. So here you can see .id property is there. I can take .class property, I can take .id property, I can take value property, I can take name property. Okay, I can take any of the property which I want from here. Generally we go with .name, .id and .value and .text also. So I have taken the property in this location. Okay, now this time I'll change the .id to log. Okay, in my code I'll change user login to .name property. I'll say name. Okay, and I'll run my part of the code. I've changed the property from name to log, so you have a flexibility to change the properties. Okay, let it launch the browser. 1 second. See, it is entering the username, right? So I just changed the property. So how to find the property? You can go to your browser, whichever application it is, right click on it. You will get an option inspect element. It will take you to the location where this object it is, and you can get the property from there. Okay, so in our coming session I'll tell you what all the list of properties that you have to take it. You can't take size property, that doesn't give a meaning. If I say size 20, then you will say what does it mean? But if I say id equal to user login, it gives you a picture in a mind. Okay, you are saying that some user login property you are saying. Okay, so it has to be meaningful, the property that you are giving. Now in the same way, you can right click on the password, inspect element, it will take me to the password field. So I can give id user password, or I can give a .name property pwd. I'll copy the property from here. It's very easy, friends. You just need to just practice it. Okay, there is not a very big thing that you need to do it. Once you will understand how to find the property and how to write the basic code, it's done. You have just won the war. Let me rerun it again. Anuj, is a question, does Selenium IDE which we saw yesterday generates the same code as RC when we export? Yes, Anuj, you will get an option, but you need to just change that part of the code, okay, so that it gets support to your dynamic application, okay. But what exactly you will be doing in your project, you need to design a generalized project. It shouldn't be like for one scenario you are writing a code, for others for test case 2 again you are writing a code, for test case 3 again you are writing a code. It's not going to be in that way. You need to write a generalized code so that your things should work, okay. So to write a generalized code, you should know the basics of these coding so that you can create a generalized project, okay. Savita has a question, if somebody is in banking project, score code of that application is not available, is that scenario how we'll get the ID? What is score code, Savita? I didn't get it. The property? Okay, sorry, source code. Okay. No. You will get the source code, Savita. It's not that if it is a web application, you will get a source code of that application. Means if it is a web application, definitely you will get the source code of it. Okay. If it is not a web application, if it is like a desktop application or flex based application or applet based application, you cannot use Selenium in that because you cannot find a property. But we can use securely that I was telling you yesterday. So we'll be coming up with the help of image recognition. You can interact with the application and do the things. Okay. So you should all. I remember that when I started the class, I told you that If things are not possible with Selenium, I will tell you the alternative how to do it. Okay. Thanks, Abhita. So you can go to the application and get the property of it. So for all the web applications, you will get the property. If I'll go to, let me show you a few more applications. Let me go to Facebook. I'll right click on this sign up page. I'll get an option inspect element. It will take me to the location where the property is. Okay, and 1 second. Yeah, so I have a .id property, I have a .class property, I have a .name property. 1 second. Yeah, .name property, first name. So I'll always get a property for all the objects, and that is the only way we interact with the objects. Okay, so even you you work on IBM RFT, QTP, or Selenium, you always need a property so that you can interact with the objects. Okay, without having a property, you cannot interact with the objects. That is called object reference. Okay, you need an object reference so that you can interact with it. I think I've answered your question, Anuj, Sabita, and Shovan, and to all also, like those who have not asked, maybe it's a confusion in their mind. Okay. Sabita, it was okay? Did you get it? Okay, thanks, Sabita. So that was the basic structure, okay, how to find a property and in Selenium RC. So what extra I can do here? See, in Selenium RC, if I'll right click on it, the basic part, as maximum what you can do, you should know how to type in your application and how to click on it, okay. The other basic part which I wanted to tell you is that the synchronization, okay. Your page should wait for the browser to load, okay. So you will say wait for page to load. Okay, you have many waits. In wait, you have wait for a specific time, wait for some timeout, so wait for some condition. So these are, for one wait, they have created so many things. So these were the drawbacks in Selenium RC. Out of this, like they have specifically written separate wait for each and everything. Okay, but the main part what we are interested is in wait for page to load. Okay, so wait for page to load for, it's in milliseconds. Okay, so if I say 10 seconds, I'll put 3 more zeros. Okay, so it will click on the submit button and it will wait for page to load for maximum 10 seconds, and if it doesn't get loaded in 10 seconds, it will come out and throw an exception. This is also one of the drawback of Selenium RC. Okay, so that's the reason, Anuj, you should know what Selenium RC is and what were the drawbacks. Here you have to specifically say that wait for my page to load for 10 seconds. If your page doesn't get loaded in 10 seconds, it will throw an exception. Okay, but for synchronization, I need it. When I'm navigating from one page to other page, my things should be synchronized. What will happen if I have a step, enter username, enter password, and click on login, and then I have a step saying that click on some latest post on WordPress. Okay, so what will happen, what I have told my tool, go to the application, enter username, password, click on submit, and then click on some latest post on WordPress. Okay, so this thing will fail, right? Because I'm not waiting for the browser to load. The browser will be loading and my step will fail. Okay, internally Selenium RC, they have put some synchronization code to do it, but most of the times the things will fail because you are actually not waiting for the browser to load. You are just performing an action. So when you will be navigating from page 1 to page 2, your steps will fail because you're not waiting for the browser to load. Okay, so these things has been overcome in Selenium WebDriver. So I'll rerun this code again. Just see the difference. When we were entering username, password, and login, it was actually closing the browser at that point of time. Now I have put a condition, wait for browser to load. See, it is waiting for the browser to load, okay? See, it was actually not waiting for the application to come. My second page didn't came and it did a timeout exception of 10 milliseconds. Did you saw? This was a very good example I took. There is no synchronization. There was no synchronization if my application is loaded. So what those people used to do, they used to put maximum 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Even if my application gets loaded in milliseconds, it will wait for 30 seconds. Those were the failures was there in RC. Okay. I'll rerun it again. Don't put 30, it will waste our time. Let me rerun it again with 20 seconds. And once the page gets loaded, it will close the browser. Whether it comes in milliseconds or in the maximum time what I have put there. It is saying that it is about wanted, it has almost reached to dashboard of WordPress, but the application is down. See, application is loaded, it will close. So this time I won't get an error saying that there was a timeout or any problem. Okay. So you saw this was the synchronization issue was also a very big drawback of Selenium RC. Okay. But things were fast compared to other tools, but still there were these many drawbacks were there. So we cannot go ahead with these many drawbacks. Okay. So we have seen that how to type and how to click and wait for the browser to load. Okay, the basics of Selenium RC. Then we saw how to find a property, how like you can right click on the objects and go to inspect element. It will take you to the location where exactly the property is written and you can take the property out of it, .id or .name. Okay, and as of now just remember .id and .name. We'll come to know what all the properties we have to take for what extra properties we can take up from the source code that you saw now. Okay, so that was all for the Selenium RC. In this way you guys can practice it how Selenium RC is working and get familiarize yourself how it is working. Okay, in this way you can move do some more execution. Okay, I'll show you one more demo on Selenium RC. In that I have created like it's not a one step that has been done. There are a few more steps that I have put it. Okay, 1 second. So I was having few more steps. I'll copy it and put it in my code here. Okay, I think that was the other part. So it's okay friends, like there are few steps that I put, like wait for the page to load for 30 minutes and click on link post, again wait for the page to load. So here you can see I'm after clicking on everything I'm waiting for the page to load. Okay, so let me put few part of the code here. So what we will be doing, we are actually clicking on link post and then we are waiting for the page to load, and then I'm clicking on add new and then I'm waiting for the page to load and I'm verifying that it is a test demo. Okay, so once if I'll do log into this application, I'll click on post, then I'll wait for the page to load for 30 seconds, then I'll click on add new, then again I'll wait for the page to load for 30 seconds, and then I'll verify the page title, that is test demo. Okay, so let me check where it is coming. Okay, right now it's showing that page title is what? Add new post. So it's not page demo. Okay, sorry. It is in the title of the page, it is typing test demo. So here it is, the page title is what? Page demo. If you see the property of this, the ID property is what? ID property is title. Okay, so in this section I am typing test demo. Okay, so you can see I'm typing ID equal to title and test demo. Okay, I'll rerun this part of the code and show you what more steps you can do. So you should practice this thing and just familiarize yourself with the Selenium RC API. Just try to perform basic option, because this is what you have to do basically. Like, try to type something on your application, click on the application, and for synchronization use the API, wait for page to load. And in the coming sessions we'll see how to take screenshots, how to handle with dialog boxes, and how to upload a file, all those things. Anuj has a question. Is this a good practice to have a page to load comment, or it's just this application? It's not a good practice, Anuj. To be very frank, you'll see this is just a drawback of Selenium RC. They used to use this command specifically. They used to put that much of time, like 40 seconds or 50 seconds. So even if their application gets loaded in 40 seconds or 30 seconds, it's good. Even in milliseconds or 1 second or 2 seconds, it will go ahead. But if their server is down and any problem is there, it will wait for maximum 30 or 40 seconds and it will come out from the execution what I told you. Okay? Okay, Anuj? So here, once the page will get loaded, okay, it has entered and come out. Okay, Anuj is saying, how about the companies that are using RC right now? They are using this part of the code, and the best part is that you can do a migration from RC to WebDriver. Okay, so that is what the companies are doing. They are migrating their part of the code. The part of the code is same, and they are just the code is same, and they are just migrating it to Selenium WebDriver with a very small change. And they are using Selenium WebDriver feature so that they can achieve good automation. Okay. Do few more steps, so that, because it is too fast that you can't see that things are actually working. Okay. So I'll put a step there. Once I'll type a test demo, I'll click on publish. What I'm doing here, I'll just categorize it. I'm clicking on post, I'm waiting for the page to load. I'm clicking on add new, waiting for the page to load. And then I'm clicking on publish, and then I'm waiting for the page to load. Okay, I'll save it and rerun it again. So it is clicking on post. It will click on post. Once it will click, it will wait for the browser to load. Okay, Jadip. Then it will click on add new, and then it will wait for the browser to load. So this command is actually good. Like, they have put a threshold value, say 40 seconds or 30 seconds. Even if my browser gets loaded in 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, or in milliseconds, less than a second also, then it will go ahead and proceed. Okay. Now, once the browser gets loaded, then it will type test demo and it will click on publish. I don't know why this site is so slow today. There is some problem. 1 second, let me check. Timeout exception came for 30 seconds. Okay, so can you see, guys, the application is so slow that the things that it is coming out from the execution. Okay, but in Selenium RC we won't be facing these problems. Okay, so I'll put 50, and here also 50. I'll save it and I'll rerun it again. So in Selenium WebDriver, we don't face these things because we have a very good option of that we should actually wait for the browser to load, and then only we should proceed it without writing wait for page to load every time. Okay, at the start itself only I'll say this is what I need a browser to be enter anything on the application only when it gets loaded completely. Then only it should do, or else it should not do it. You have seen that the installation and configuration of Selenium RC, and then we saw how to launch a Selenium server before we, like, if our server is down. So okay, fine, one more thing I'll tell you. If my server, I have not started my server, then you saw it was saying that the server is not up and running, you need to start it. Okay, so once your server is started, you guys can see, right, for each and everything it was actually saying that it was performing an action. Okay, whatever we were doing at the Selenium side, the server was recording each and everything. Okay, so if you are working in a very big company, if you have a very big project, you cannot track everything on this command prompt, right? So what we can do, we can log in a separate file these commands. Okay, we can have these, we can start a server saying that don't print everything in console, because once your buffer size is full, it will go out of the memory. You can put these server related communication in a separate file in the location where from where I'm launching my server. Okay, so I'll stop this server and I'll rerun it again. Store the logs what server side communication is having. We have a server side log and a browser side log. When we are doing communication, we have a server side log, means server related communication we have, but when we communicate to the server, that is called server side log. Okay, but what is browser side log? When server is communicating to the browser, that is called browser side log. Like browser is passing it something to the server. Okay, so we have two ways of communication. I told you HTTP protocol. So when they communicate, we are getting output of 2. Okay, so right now I'll store the server log in my system. So when I launch, I'll say -log selenium.log. Okay, so this time I'll launch, I'll say -log selenium.log. This is the name of the log file. Okay, -log is just the command and selenium.log is the name of the log file. I'll hit enter. So can you see nothing is coming, right? But when I was doing before, it was printing something, right? This many data. When I'll stop, when I'm saying server log, it is not printing anything. Okay, but when I'll execute this command, it will start printing something here. So I'll go to this location and show you that in server log what all the things I have. Okay, so server log file is created and one file will be created. You can get the full information from here. No, it's showing a very, let me open in a notepad. So here you can see what all the communication we did before. Okay, so this is the old log file. Let me delete, stop the server, delete this log file first, and then again launch the server with -log. You can see a file got created. Okay, so now when you will go to your test case and try to do an execution, okay, it is up and running. Let it come. I'll close the browser. Okay, so we can see what all the what exactly the communication happened in the browser. So my browser got stopped, and I'll go to the server log. See, in console, can you see it is printing browser related communication? Okay, so server related communication is not coming. I have closed the browser. Okay, so if I'll go to this location, you can see server related information was coming. Okay, start listener. See, right now I've closed the server, so it is trying to connect to the server again. Okay, so this is what it has come in the server side communication, but browser side communication was coming here. Okay, so still the things are up and running. Can you saw? So because of this, so this is the reason, Anuj or Shovan, you were asking why shouldn't we should not close the browser. See, this is what it happened. I closed the server, now still it is running. So there is no other way. How should I close it? Okay, so if you want to close it, I think you can go to console and close it. So show view, and you can see here console. which will show you the output, what it is there. So it is running. I'll close it. So it was not finding the communication, that was it got hanged. Okay. So that was a server side communication that you can store, but for browser side communication also, if you want to store in a log file, then what you can do, I'll stop this server first. Okay. So in the PPT, so Selenium RC also provides an option to generate browser side communication. So if I'll put the browser side log also, store it selenium.log, so nothing will come in the command prompt, everything will get stored in the browser itself. Okay, so here I'll put this command -brow browser side log. Something is wrong. Maybe I think I have stopped that server that time. That is the reason. Okay. Could not connect to the server. Have you started? Okay. 1 second, friends. I think something went wrong in the server side. Server is fine, up and running. Let me run it again. Go to console. Right click, run as JUnit. Okay, let it come. By the time, I think the server is taking time to, it's not at all launching, and I don't know the reason. I think I have to restart my Eclipse. I just stopped that time, right? It is saying that jar file, okay. Browser side log, something is wrong here. Let me check the command. Okay, I'll stop the server, restart Eclipse again, and then we'll try. Okay, by that time we'll see the other commands as well. So these were the two options to log your server. So what is the use? The use is that if anything went wrong in your server side or a browser side, or anything is not working, you can actually go to the log file and see what was the reason behind it. Okay. And we saw the installation of RC, and we saw logging with Selenium RC, and the testing, we saw how to download it and test the web applications. We took many examples here. You saw how to run a server. So you can go through this screenshot and slide if you want to launch a server, java space -jar selenium and your jar server name. If you want to log it in a separate location, you can log it with this command rather than typing java space -jar your jar file name. Okay. Then we discussed like what is the meaning of this setup, the before class. So localhost is the IP address, port number, and then you have a browser. So if your browser is not running, if you type *Firefox and you are not able to run, so what you have to do, because most of the time for people I have seen that it doesn't work. So what you have to do, you have to give the exact path of your Firefox and it will launch. Okay, for Google Chrome you won't find a problem. Okay, then you have to give the domain name and click selenium.start, so your server will start up and running. That's it. You don't have to do anything other than this. That's it. Okay, nothing extra you have to do. Then you saw if you type Firefox, sometimes it will work, sometimes if not. If it is not working, try to give a space and give the path of the exe, it will work for you. Okay, so that is called environment level and the explicit level. So explicitly level specified is this one. Okay, you can do at environment level, like your my computer, if it is already set at the environment level in properties, if you go advanced system settings, you can saw environment variable. So if the path of your, see right now Firefox is not set for me, so it won't work. So if it is set at the environment level, you don't have to specify it. Okay, so I'll suggest you the best way is that if like explicitly, if you specify, this is called explicit, it is not working, then you can, what you can do, you can provide the path of the Firefox, it will work for you. Okay, so that's a good way to go ahead. Okay, this is called explicitly and this is the one called environment level. because it's already set for you. I think this is wrong. Okay. And we saw how to create a project and the before, after, and test cases, where to write your test case so that you can easily go ahead and create your more test cases. So in one file you can create multiple test cases and do the things. Okay. There is Facebook registration test case. Okay, I'll show you one example and then we are done with the demo. Okay, so the advanced feature is that we saw the programming logic. Okay, the more you will work, you will get familiarized with, and that is the only thing you have to do. You don't have to do more than that. Okay, just try to do few things. Then in the other sessions we'll see that what all the extra things we can do, like taking a screenshot, handling pop-up windows and all those things. Okay, you can put a condition statement like if condition, if depending on your scenario, like I took, if it is an administrator or a normal user or a guest, you can interact with the application. You can do iterations, exception handling, verification power, and handling of dynamic fields. Okay, so we'll be seeing these topics in the coming session because it's an advanced version of Selenium. Okay, friends. So the next part is locator technique. Okay, we should have completed it on time, but it's getting delayed. Not a problem. The main thing is that you guys are getting it. That's the main thing. Okay. Teja is saying that hope I can iterate my changing the parameters reading from database. Definitely, Teja. In the coming sessions, we'll see that how can we iterate it, getting different data from the databases and do it, like getting more data from the Excel sheet and do it. Okay. Like you have a same script. Once you are entering admin and demo 1, 2, 3, next time you will have a user called administrator and entering it, and next again you have a user called guest and use entering it. So your script is same and you are just passing different sets of data. Okay. Thanks, Teja. I had a question. Yeah, Shovan. So let it come. I'll show you a quick demo for Facebook. I have just created a very small demo to show you a logic part, what logic you can do in your test script. So in test case, if I'll expand it, you can saw iteration. So for all these things, I have created a slide. So means I have a demo, so I can show you separate classes for it. I can show you a demo on that. So I'll run this class. You can see that it will launch a browser and it will enter these details and it will repeat it for 20 times. Okay. For each time, I am just changing the value there. Okay. Selenium server is not up and running. Okay, let me run the server and then I'll run my code. So Shovan has a question, is there a key combination to quickly stop the server like Control Q and etc.? Yes, you have to press, I'm pressing Control C to stop the server. If you want to running server, you can press Control C, it will stop the server. Okay. Oh, it is running actually. I thought it has not come. Okay, so I'll maximize it. So you can see that Sushobit 0, it has entered the details, it is changing the details there, then Sushobit 4, Sushobit 5. So it is, see how fast it is doing the steps. Okay, I'm iterating it with different sets of value. 20 times I'm entering the data and changing the value. First name, last name, mobile number, new password, birthday, Jan 1, 2, 3, like that way. So it has repeated these many steps 20 times and you saw how fast it was doing. Okay, right now I don't have IBM RFT or QTP in my system. I could have shown you it has executed this like around 10 steps in around 72 seconds. I'll tell you friends, IBM RFT will take more than 1 minute to execute only these many steps. Okay, you can see how fast it is. Right now I don't have an option, but if you are getting an opportunity, or just ask your friends or anyone, just see how much time they are taking and how much time Selenium is taking. You saw. Now we'll go to the locator techniques. Okay, so right now we saw the basic locator techniques. that if I have a web application, we'll stick to our WordPress application so that we can do because I like this application, there are many things to do it. Okay, I have a link, a text link, I have a button, I have a text box, I have a text area, I have a drop down. Oh, it's not working. Okay, no, it's working. I have checkboxes, I have radio button, so I have everything here what I need for an application. Okay, so it's easy to go application. I'll click on posts and add post. We were on this page. Okay, so this page will give you an overall idea of how we can interact with the web application. Okay,